let's see what I got in this box. So what you can see I have here is actually a Chinese knockoff off eBay of the Mishimoto style cold air intake. Overall, I'm quite satisfied with the look of the heat shield and the weld for what I paid. I mean, I know I got what I paid for. It's not terrible. Keep in mind, any cold air intake, ram intake, some of your, yes, R&D went into the system itself. Most of it goes into the filter. Looking at this, I'm not quite happy with this part of it. This is, to me, looks a little bit trash. And it doesn't really show up on camera that well, but if you ever see one of these filters in person that comes off with these Chinese knockoffs, you'll be able to tell. Like the cardboard filter, this red filter that's kind of like a cardboard cloth type of thing, it literally looks like it's cardboard. Like it's something you have to see in person. It's not going to work that well. So that's my first step. This will not be on the car. Instead, just went to my local Advance, got a replacement filter. This is a lot better quality. Is it a K&N filter? No, but this is going to hold up and work as well as what I need it to do. These are only like 30 bucks. This whole kit was $130. So to replace with a new, better quality filter, and this thing even comes close to the actual Mishimoto intake, which runs for over $300. This is going to cost me $160. I mean, that's not far off of half the price. But I'll be doing more than just replacing the filter. In this box, and another one showing up in the mail any day, you saw on a earlier video, I did functional vents on the bumper. I'm going to mount this all up, and we're going to figure out where I need to cut a hole. This we mounted underneath with piping going to the bumper to have a functional air, kind of being like a sub ram / cold air intake hybrid. The benefits of the ram air, the filter actually stays a little bit cleaner. It's a little easier access to clean it. Downfall, it is a little bit hotter than the cold air intake, so you get a little less horsepower. Cold air intake, it's closer to the ground, it's gonna get dirt quicker, it's gonna give you colder air, giving you more power, so they each have pros and cons. So I'm hoping with this little hybrid that I plan to be making, I will have something that will work pretty dang well and kind of have the best of both worlds with less cons of both worlds. We'll see how that works out. So, first thing that I found out, and it doesn't show up that well on video, kind of does, kind of doesn't. The outer diameter are the same of both of these filters. This is the one that I got off Advance. This is the eBay knockoff. So as you can see, this just kind of goes right in while this is fighting me. I should be able to work that out by putting some tape around the pipe just to thicken it up a little bit. That should clamp down and make the difference negligible. So got that done. There was some electrical tape. Just thickens it up just slightly because it's not like it's way off. you're talking like something is an eighth of an inch off. It just moved a little bit more than it should. So now it's a lot more snug. And this isn't going to be the final part of it. I'm actually going to be adding some heat shield onto this pipe too. So that'll thicken it up a little bit more too. And shouldn't, while you're going to have some high temps, there should be no reason why this is really going to melt. It's not going to get that close to anything extremely high that would melt the electrical tape. There we go. We got it all wrapped up. This is a much more snug. This is just testing things out, doing a lot of test fitting. When you're getting a knockoff and not the actual product, you're going to have to be playing around making sure things fit the way they need to be. Is this similar with the heat shield? I was playing with it a little bit last night. While this is close to square, it wasn't perfectly square. I had to do a little bit of bending and twisting to get it a lot closer to what it needed to be. Now we're going to be working a little bit more on the heat shield and what we need to do to prep to have this where we need to be. My concept is will be the bottom, line this with the painter's tape, roughly mount everything up, and mark where I need this to be. There is going to be a hose coming down, but there's other things that get in the way, so just to put it in dead center may not exactly work. It may work over in the corner, this corner, so I'm going to be mounting everything up, figuring out where this needs to be, then taking it off, then we'll cut the hole out. So it'll roughly look like that. So now we'll be able to take this out, mount everything up, see where we need to cut our hole. I'll have to take this vent out first so I can draw a circle when I put it up. Then when we cut our hole, I do plan on lining the entire inside of this. Give it a little bit more heat shield. Plan to even make like a donut or something just to choke this up. This hole is a little bit bigger than what it needs to be. I'm sure on the actual Mishimoto one, it's not as big as what it is. There's about a good half-inch gap. So let's I'll get this all mocked up and figure out and show you what it'll look like. So while I was filming, my next package came in. Funnel to be down by closer to the vent. I'm happy with this. I'm fine with this. Here's my problem. Knew it was coming with tubing. I thought it'd be closer to this size. These two items are often sold together, and they're not even close. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with that. I still want to use this. I actually like that diameter a little bit better for airflow. So may have to look for a different ductwork system as close to this size, and then just choke it up onto the funnel. Because with the sensors and everything in the bumper, I don't think I'm getting much more than something like this. My whole plan, yeah, the sensor, this would be mounted beside it. So, I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. Okay, so after a lot of hard work, got a hole cut out at the bottom. What I decided to do was I returned my other vent, and I found this. It's basically a 2-inch PVC drain pipe. Kind of goes with the black theme and everything. It looks like it is actually the same size as this pipe. So I can just use that other ventilation tubing and it'll all match up. So let's go ahead and get this all thrown together. I am going to do a little bit more heat shielding on the inside first with the tape, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so we went ahead and did some pre-assembly. I put a heat shield on the bottom underneath, made sure the hose was attached to the bottom first. We'll fish it through and then attach it to the funnel. Because once this goes onto the car, you're not going to really reach this bottom bracket, so it kind of needs to be done first. And here's a look of it. Didn't put the lid on yet. Basically, you're going to use the existing bolts that you took out to mount it down there. And one gets mounted up in here with that other bracket. But underneath there, the ductwork just goes right underneath there. It will come out right here. I'm gonna drill a hole and zip line it together so it stays there. But first thing, we're gonna swap out this intercooler, and I don't see the point of zip tying that together till I do the intercooler. Here we have the Rev 9 intercooler. I got it in the black. Now the one thing I have seen of other videos right here, and you can kind of see there's a color change in paint. That molding is not the best. That sometimes you gotta take a grinder to it and just grind it down, make sure it's flush, so the bolt can actually go in properly and go in flush. I've already done that and then painted it to let it dry. But that's the only major problem I've ever heard. I mean, at the same time, it might have worked even with the way it was. I saw too many videos, figure I'll just do it now before I throw it on. It's a quick minor little thing done, just with some, with a little grinder. Took me like maybe 2 seconds. So the first thing, you're going to want to undo all the tabs to make all this come off, to make it easier to get the current intercooler off. This piece, I'm not even sure with the new one if it will really make a difference. I'm probably not going to install this back. A lot of this is just to help direct the air towards the smaller one. But for how big this new one's going to be, I think I would get just better results leaving that off. I may even cut some of this stuff back. We'll see how this goes. So after getting those two bolts out, there's a bolt back right behind the horn on this bracket. You take that off, and then this bracket will come right off. And that's really all that's holding this in. You do that on the same side, and this all should just pretty much slide right out. Oh, got it out. You can clearly see a night and day difference. Like, I don't know, maybe a third smaller or so. But you turn them on your side, you got decent difference just with that too. Now there are some things you'll have to transfer, like the O-rings, but also these stoppers have to be mounted on as well. So I'm gonna transfer that stuff, then we'll get this mounted. So first we gotta do a little bit of prep work. We're gonna have to take the black heat felt pad, whatever that thing is. That's gotta come off. We're gonna have to make sure the washer fluid hose are out of our way, and then we can get started. Okay, so got that off. The ones over here really aren't worrying me, but this one was hanging up there. I need that to at least be loose and dangling. Now, let's close it up and get the top masked off. Okay, we got it all masked off. roughly guessing where the center line is, rough guess where the vents will be, and each corner of the hood. Now we are going to use a measuring what tape I think it is. Often these are used for like sewing, but when you're dealing with something with contours and curves, you're going to get much better results using that than a typical ruler. It's just not going to work out right. You're going to be slightly off, and we want these to be as mirror image as possible. Okay, so I'm not going to go into how I actually measured it, but I'm happy between all the points and everything to get a line that is roughly halfway in my center point, my sensor that's on the dash, and halfway on the logo. That has to be about right. Nothing's measured out, but that's what I'm roughly going for. Keep an eye out for those vents. They're a nice, decent size. I want to say they're actually meant for a Mustang. I don't know if these were returned or whatnot. They normally run between $20 and $30. I actually snagged these for $15. I was a little bit surprised at that. And then you can basically do the same thing, just finding out where your center line is, cutting your holes where you need them to be, and they will be dropped right in. Now this is something I did weeks ago that you didn't see me do. You don't want to cut your hole as big as what your vent is. So I took a box that I actually got this at Aldi's, traced it, measured in about a 1/2 inch on all sides, to then figure out, one, to get a template for me to trace onto the hood, but two, to make sure that this is snug enough of a template that this pops right down in and stays flush with the box. It gives me a good indication that it will stay flush on the hood and actually stay on top of the hood and not fall the whole way in. You got no lip for it to actually snag onto. It's just gonna drop right down into your hole, into the engine. So this is a rough placement of where the vents will be, where I'll be cutting the holes. What I did, on the flip side of the hood, you have a brace to help keep the form of the hood. I don't want to cut too far into that, but to some extent you're going to have to. So I actually measured 4 inches down, and that's where I'm going to be starting the hood. That should leave most of the brace untouched. Part of the reason why you want to have it that far down, it actually is 6 inches. You get too close, one, I don't think it looks aesthetically correct. It's just too close to the grill. And two, you're not really using the vents to its fullest. Part of this is for it to relieve some of the heat of the engine. Well, you're gonna have air coming in through the grill and pushing the heat back away from the front. It's gonna be built up closer to the back. So I think 4 inches off of the hood line is a nice steady medium, doesn't cut into the brace too much, and it's far enough back that it's going to relieve the most amount of heat from your engine bay. Drill your holes. I did 4 small ones in each corner, then 1 bigger one just to get the blade in for me to cut the hood. Make sure you do leave the tape down, then drill a... Just wanted to give a quick look at the hood with just the vents. I'm actually going to wrap it first before I put them down so they're not secure, but this is what it would look like. So, wrapping it had a bad time. Got ruined. Basically, it got too late, too cold, all at once. I should have just never tried to do it. So we're going to tear this off, get the vents on, wrap this up because I gotta get my car back on the road. So my vents are gonna be put on two ways. Double-sided tape will be facing the hood. Then I marked off trying to get a close to center line. I'll be drilling holes for rivets just to make sure they're actually secured and won't go any place. They'll be nice and locked into place. I actually had to specially order these off Amazon. You can't get black rivets easily, but that way it'll kind of blend in with the vents. It won't be that noticeable. So they're pushed down on in place. In the cold weather, it's kind of sticking, kind of not. But on both vents, I marked roughly where I want the rivets to be, so they're kind of symmetrical, similar, so they look nice. So we'll get the holes drilled in and then get the rivets down. So we quickly got that done. Hopefully I get a nice warm day in a day or two and I can get this tape off and the rest of this wrap off, and then I'll show you the final results. There we go, the final project. Had to take the wrap off. Like I said, it got torn, wasn't working out. But I think it comes out pretty good. It's actually been the first beautiful day. I'm about to give it a car wash. Hi, let me know what you think. That's everything I was able to do with only 500. I might have been a little bit over 500, but in the ballpark range of that. I think it's a drastic makeover. It's going to help improve and kind of set me up for the next step, for the next $500. And this will be a drastic change. I'll be pretty much close to the end project outside of suspension. I don't know, should I give you a hint? I don't know. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the House of Blum. Bye. I wonder what the next video will be. Oh, I don't know. What could he be changing next?